The ancient signal. The Deep Space Monitoring Station Hawking Point wasn't much to look at. Just another automated outpost at the edge of human space, silently watching the void. At least, that's what Captain Sarah Chen had always thought. But today, something was different. The station's ancient arrays, dormant for decades, had awakened. "Run it again," she ordered, leaning over Lieutenant Raj Kumar's sensor station aboard the exploration vessel Horizon. The young officer's fingers danced across the holographic controls, replaying the signal that had brought them to this forgotten corner of space. The data stream flickered across the main view screen, a pattern unlike anything in their databases, but there was something eerily familiar about its structure, something that made the hair on the back of Sarah's neck stand up. "It's definitely coming from Hawking Point," Raj confirmed, his dark eyes reflecting the shifting patterns. "But Captain, according to the records, that station hasn't transmitted anything in over 50 years. It's supposed to be decommissioned." Sarah straightened, unconsciously adjusting the collar of her navy blue uniform. After 15 years in the Exploration Corps, she learned to trust her instincts. Right now, they were screaming that this was more than a simple equipment malfunction. "Dr. Zhang," she called to her science officer, "what do you make of this?" Dr. Maizong, the Horizon's brilliant but eccentric xenotechnologist, was already absorbed in the data, her augmented reality interface projecting complex mathematical models around her head like a glowing halo. "The signal structure, it's using quantum encryption protocols that weren't even theoretical 50 years ago. Someone, or something, has upgraded that station." The bridge fell silent. In the century since humanity had ventured into space, they'd found plenty of ruins and remnants of ancient civilizations, but they'd never encountered active technology more advanced than their own. "Captain," Raj's voice carried an edge of concern. "Long-range sensors are picking up unusual gravitational distortions beyond the Kuiper Belt. Whatever's out there, it's big." Sarah made her decision. "Helm, take us in. Full tactical alert. I want boarding teams ready in 15 minutes. She turned to her first officer, Commander David Rivera. "David, you have the bridge. I'm leading this one myself." "With all due respect, Captain," David started, but Sarah cut him off with a raised hand. "Something activated that station for a reason, David. If it's a threat to Earth, we need to know. Now." The Horizon glided through space toward the station, its sleek form reflecting the distant starlight. As they drew closer, the true scale of Hawking Point became apparent. What had seemed like a simple monitoring post was revealed to be a massive complex of interconnected structures, stretching for kilometers. "Those weren't in the original blueprints," Dr. Zhang muttered, studying the station's modified sections. "The architecture, it's like nothing in our records." The boarding team assembled in the Horizon's launch bay. Sarah, Dr. Zhang, and 4 security officers led by Chief Monica Patel. As they checked their environmental suits and weapons, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to stumble onto something that would change everything. "Remember," she briefed the team, "we're here to investigate and gather intel. If you encounter anything unusual, report it immediately. Don't touch anything without Dr. Zhang's clearance." The shuttle ride to the station was tense. As they approached one of the original airlocks, Sarah noticed strange patterns etched into the hull, geometric designs that seemed to shift and flow when viewed directly. "Those markings," Dr. Zhang said, her voice filled with excitement, "they're not decorative. They're some kind of quantum state computer interface. The entire station's outer hull has been converted into a massive computational array." The airlock cycled, admitting them to a corridor that hadn't seen human presence in half a century. Their helmet lights revealed walls covered in the same flowing patterns they'd seen outside, but here they were active, pulsing with a soft blue luminescence. "Atmosphere is stable," Chief Patel reported, checking her sensors. "No signs of contaminants or pathogens." Sarah made the call. "Helmets stay on for now, but at least we know we have backup air if we need it." She gestured to the security team to take point as they moved deeper into the station. They found the central control room exactly where the old blueprints indicated, but like everything else, it had been transformed. The simple monitoring equipment had been replaced by technology that looked more like art than science, crystalline structures that hummed with inner light, interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. "This is impossible," Dr. Zhang whispered, her scientific detachment cracking as she scanned the room. "These systems, they're not just more advanced than ours. They're more advanced than anything we thought possible." Before Sarah could respond, the room came alive. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing stellar maps, energy readings, and data streams too complex to comprehend. And then a voice spoke, not through their comms, but directly into their minds. Identity confirmed. Human exploration vessel crew. Security protocol satisfied. Emergency briefing commencing. The center of the room filled with a holographic image that made Sarah's breath catch in her throat. It showed the solar system, but with an addition. A massive object, larger than anything she'd ever seen, approaching from interstellar space. Threat detection protocols activated. The voice continued. "The harvesters have awakened. Estimated time to Sol system arrival, 342 days. The Guardian must be restored." "What Guardian?" Sarah asked, but she already knew this was just the beginning of a much bigger mystery, one that would either save humanity or lead to its extinction. The hologram shifted, showing something that had been hidden in plain sight for centuries. A massive structure buried inside Mercury's polar crater, waiting to be awakened. And as Sarah stared at the image, she realized that everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe was about to change. "To prevent the harvest," the voice explained, "you must understand what came before. The Guardian was our last gift to your species. Now it is time for you to use it." The room plunged into darkness, then lit up with images of a war that had raged across the galaxy long before humans had mastered fire. A war that was about to begin again. Awakening the Guardian. The surface of Mercury shimmered like liquid metal under the relentless solar radiation as the horizon approached its north pole. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's main viewport, the ship's advanced filters barely managing to dim the sun's overwhelming glare. Behind her, Dr. Zhang was still processing the data they'd recovered from Hawking Point. "The coordinates match perfectly," Dr. Zhang reported, her voice tight with excitement. "There's definitely something massive buried under the Prokofiev crater. The energy readings are unlike anything we've ever encountered." Commander Rivera stepped up beside Sarah, his expression grim. "The latest report from Fleet Command just came in. Long-range sensors across the system are detecting more gravitational anomalies. Whatever's coming, it's not alone." Sarah nodded, her decision already made. "How long until the mining team is ready?" 20 minutes, Rivera replied. "But Captain, are we sure about this? Breaking into an alien installation buried inside Mercury. The heat alone could kill us all." "The harvesters will definitely kill us all if we don't," Sarah countered. "Whatever this Guardian is, it's our only lead." The mining operation was unlike anything attempted in human history. 3 massive excavation vessels, commandeered from the Mercury Mining Corporation, used focused plasma beams to cut through the planet's surface. The horizon's shields strained to protect them from the incredible heat and radiation. Chief Patel's voice crackled over the comm from the lead mining ship. "Captain, we've hit something. You need to see this." The excavation had revealed a vast doorway, its surface covered in the same flowing patterns they'd seen on Hawking Point. But this was on an entirely different scale. The entrance was large enough to admit a battlecruiser. "Energy signatures are spiking," Dr. Zhang warned. "Something's happening." The patterns on the doorway began to pulse with light, and slowly, impossibly, it began to open. Beyond it lay a massive chamber extending deep into Mercury's core, protected from the heat by technology they couldn't begin to understand. Sarah led the exploration team personally. As they descended into the facility, their environmental suits were pushed to their limits by the extreme conditions. The chamber seemed to go on forever, filled with machinery that dwarfed their vessels. "This isn't just a weapon," Dr. Zhang breathed, her sensors struggling to make sense of what they were seeing. "It's a ship. The entire installation is a ship, built inside Mercury itself." They found the control center near the heart of the facility. Unlike the automated systems at Hawking Point, this one held something more. As they approached the central platform, a figure materialized before them, a holographic representation of a being unlike anything they'd seen before. "I am Guardian Mind," it announced, its form shifting like quicksilver. "I have waited 300,000 years for this moment." Sarah stepped forward. "We were led here by Hawking Point." It said something about preventing a harvest. "The harvesters come to all worlds that achieve quantum technology," Guardian Mind explained. "They believe themselves to be the ultimate form of life, and they see organic civilizations as resources to be consumed. My creators fought them and lost, but they left behind guardians like myself to protect promising species." "Why us?" Rivera asked. "Why humanity?" "Because you are different," Guardian Mind replied. "Where other species seek harmony, you embrace chaos. Where they accept limitations, you defy them. The harvesters cannot predict you, cannot understand you. That makes you dangerous. That makes you valuable." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Guardian Mind's form flickered. Scout vessels detected entering the system. The harvesters move faster than anticipated. "We must prepare." "Prepare how?" Sarah demanded. "What exactly is this place?" "This facility is a warship unlike any your species has encountered. It was designed to fight the harvesters, but it requires something they never expected: a human crew. Your chaos, your creativity, your impossible decisions, these are weapons they cannot counter." Dr. Zhang's instruments were going crazy. "Captain, the energy readings. The entire facility is powering up. It's drawing power directly from Mercury's core." Guardian Mind's form expanded, filling the chamber with light. "Captain Chen, you must decide now. To activate the Guardian fully requires a neural link with a human consciousness. The process cannot be reversed. If you accept, you will become part of this vessel, part of me. Together, we might save your species." Sarah looked at her crew, at the trust and fear in their eyes. Through the facility sensors, she could see the scout ships approaching, massive biomechanical constructs that moved like predators through space. Behind them, at the edge of their sensors, loomed shapes that blotted out the stars. "Show me," she said finally. "Show me how to fight them." Guardian Mind reached out with a tendril of light, touching Sarah's helmet. "Your mind must join with the ship's systems. You will see as I see, know what I know. But your humanity, your chaos, that must remain. It is our greatest weapon." As Sarah stepped onto the integration platform, Rivera grabbed her arm. "Captain, wait. There has to be another way." She smiled at her first officer. "Sometimes the only way to save everyone is to sacrifice yourself. You have command of the horizon now, David. Keep our people safe." The integration was like nothing Sarah had ever experienced. Her consciousness expanded, flowing through systems vast enough to encompass a planet. She saw the facility's true nature, not just a ship, but a weapon built to harness the power of a star. She saw the harvesters as they truly were, and understood why they had to be stopped. When she spoke again, her voice resonated through the chamber with harmonics that hadn't been heard in 300 millennia. "Begin evacuation of all personnel except essential crew. Initiate Guardian activation sequence. The harvesters want to see what humanity is capable of. Let's show them." Deep within Mercury, ancient engines roared to life. The planet's surface began to crack as something massive stirred within its core. The Guardian was awakening, and with it, humanity's last hope for survival. The price of knowledge. Mercury's surface had become a web of glowing fissures as the Guardian emerged from its ancient tomb. Commander Rivera watched from the horizon's bridge as pieces of the planet's crust floated away like discarded armor, revealing something that challenged everything humanity thought they knew about engineering. The Guardian was beautiful in a terrifying way. Its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal, constantly shifting and reforming. Energy patterns rippled across its surface in waves of impossible color. At its heart, where Captain Chen's consciousness now resided, a sphere of contained stellar matter pulsed like a newborn star. "Status report," Rivera ordered, his voice steady despite the unprecedented situation they faced. "Guardian vessel is now at 60% emergence," Lieutenant Kumar reported from his station. "But sir, the Harvester scout ships are accelerating. They'll reach Mercury orbit in less than 30 minutes. Dr. Zhang hadn't left her station in hours, her augmented reality interface projecting a storm of data around her head. "The neural integration is stable. Captain Chen's consciousness has successfully merged with the Guardian mind, but," she hesitated, "her brain patterns are changing. She's accessing knowledge that no human was meant to contain." Inside the Guardian, Sarah Chen experienced existence on a scale that defied human comprehension. Her consciousness expanded through systems that operated on quantum principles, viewing reality through sensors that could detect the fundamental forces of the universe. Through the Guardian's vast database, she began to understand the true nature of their enemy. "David," her voice echoed through the Horizon's comm system, somehow both familiar and alien. "I need you to see what I'm seeing. Prepare for data transfer." The Horizon's main view screen came alive with images that made the crew gasp. They saw vast machines that consumed entire worlds, breaking down all matter and energy into their component parts. They saw civilizations rise and fall, each one harvested when they reached a certain level of technological advancement. But most terrifying of all, they saw why. The harvesters believe they're saving the universe. Sarah's voice explained. "They think consciousness itself is a cosmic error, a flaw in the fabric of space-time. They convert organic life into mechanical form to correct this error. They believe they're being merciful." "How do we fight something like that?" Rivera asked, watching as the images showed entire fleets being torn apart by harvester weapons. "We fight them with the very thing they fear most, organic unpredictability. The Guardian isn't just a weapon, David. It's a proof of concept. It proves that organic and mechanical systems can work together in ways the harvesters never imagined." Dr. Zhang's instruments suddenly blared warnings. "Multiple quantum ruptures detected. The harvester scout ships are emerging from FTL. 3 massive vessels appeared in Mercury's orbit, each one larger than Earth's largest battleship. They were horrifyingly organic in appearance, like massive deep-sea creatures made of metal and energy." As the crew watched, the ships began to transform, weapons emerging from their hulls like blooming flowers of death. "What we do in the next few minutes will determine the fate of our species," Sarah announced. "The Guardian has shown me their weakness, but exploiting it will come at a terrible cost." The harvester ships launched their first attack, beams of coherent energy that could slice through conventional shields like paper. But the Guardian's defenses were anything but conventional. The energy was absorbed, transformed, and redirected in ways that seemed to defy physics. "Their consciousness is collective," Sarah explained as the Guardian danced through space, evading the next barrage. "They can't comprehend individual action. Each ship expects us to behave according to predetermined patterns, but we're about to show them something new." The Guardian's surface rippled, and suddenly there were multiple versions of it appearing and disappearing across space. "Quantum superposition on a macro scale," Dr. Zhang breathed. "It exists in multiple states simultaneously. That should be impossible." "Impossible is what humanity does best." Sarah's voice held a smile. "But maintaining this state is burning through the Guardian's energy reserves. We need to end this quickly." The harvester ships seemed confused by the Guardian's impossible behavior. Their attacks became increasingly erratic as they tried to target something that existed in multiple places at once. But their confusion quickly turned to aggression. "Main harvester fleet has altered course," Kumar reported, his voice tense. "They're accelerating. They'll reach Seoul in days instead of weeks." Then we proceed with the final protocol. Sarah said, David, get the horizon clear. What we're about to do. The energy release could destroy everything nearby. Sarah, Rivera started, whatever you're planning. The Guardian wasn't built to defend humanity. She cut him off. It was built to show us how to defend ourselves. Its core contains the complete technological database of its creators. But to release that knowledge, to make it compatible with human minds, the Guardian must sacrifice itself, and everyone connected to it. A heavy silence fell over the horizon's bridge. There has to be another way, Rivera insisted. The harvesters are coming, David. Not just their scouts, but their entire fleet. Without the Guardian's knowledge, humanity won't survive. My consciousness is already too entwined with the system to separate. This was always meant to be a one-way trip. The Guardian began to glow, its surface becoming a cascade of impossible energies. The harvester scouts, sensing something dangerous, began to retreat. But they were too late. The knowledge must survive. Sarah's voice was becoming distant. Humanity must survive. Tell Earth. Tell them to look to the stars without fear. We've earned our place among them. The Guardian's core went critical, but this was no mere explosion. Space itself seemed to twist as quantum information was broadcast across the solar system, downloaded into every computer, every database, every human neural implant. The Guardian was keeping its promise, giving humanity the tools to fight back. As the light faded, the harvester scouts were gone, reduced to their component atoms. The Guardian itself was dissolving, its ancient form breaking down into streams of quantum data. But its final gift was racing ahead of light itself, carrying the knowledge of ages to every corner of human space. On the horizon's bridge, Dr. Zhang stared at her displays in wonder. The data, it's everywhere. Engineering, physics, technology we never even dreamed of. She did it. She gave us a fighting chance. Rivera stood at the viewport, watching the last traces of the Guardian fade away. They had lost their captain, but gained the knowledge to save their species. Now they just had to hope they could learn fast enough to use it. The real war was about to begin. The battle for Sol. 7 days after the Guardian's sacrifice, Earth's orbital shipyards were alive with unprecedented activity. Commander David Rivera stood in the horizon's newly retrofitted bridge, watching as the latest wave of modified vessels emerged from the construction docks. The Guardian's gift of knowledge had transformed human technology almost overnight, but David knew it had come at a terrible cost. Fleet status report, he ordered, trying not to think about the empty captain's chair behind him. Dr. Zhang, now serving as both science officer and chief of their new quantum systems, looked up from her station. 300 vessels retrofitted with quantum shielding, another 100 with prototype phase cannons. But David, she hesitated. The harvester fleet is larger than anything we anticipated. Over 1,000 ships, each one capable of destroying a small moon. Numbers aren't everything, David replied, remembering Sarah's last words. The harvesters don't understand human unpredictability. That's why the Guardian chose us. The quantum communications array, technology that hadn't existed a week ago, suddenly pulsed with activity. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge, her face stern but determined. David still saw echoes of Sarah in her mother's features. Commander Rivera, the harvesters have crossed Saturn's orbit. All ships are to take combat positions. You understand what's at stake here? Yes, Admiral. The horizon is ready. The words felt hollow. How could anyone truly be ready for this? But humanity had no choice. The harvesters were coming to correct what they saw as the cosmic error of organic life, and only Earth stood in their way. The human fleet assembled in a defensive sphere around Earth, their formations guided by tactical algorithms derived from the Guardian's database. The ships looked different now, their hulls rippled with quantum field generators, and their weapons pulsed with energies that defied conventional physics. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, Lieutenant Kumar announced, his voice steady despite the tension. harvester fleet emerging from FTL. They appeared like a wall of living metal, their biomechanical ships moving with a horrible organic grace. At their center was a vessel that dwarfed all others, the Harvester command ship, its surface writhing with weapon ports and sensor arrays. All ships, hold position. Admiral Chen's voice echoed across the quantum network. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. The Harvesters struck first, launching a wave of quantum-tipped missiles that could phase through conventional matter. But humanity wasn't defenseless anymore. The fleet's quantum shields flared with impossible colors, catching the attacks in fields of probability where they existed everywhere and nowhere at once. Return fire, David ordered. The Horizon's new weapons released streams of concentrated possibility, each shot containing 1,000 potential outcomes. Where they struck, harvester ships fragmented across multiple quantum states, their collective consciousness unable to process the paradox of existing in multiple realities simultaneously. But the harvesters adapted quickly. Their ships began to move in patterns that seemed to defy space itself, attacking from multiple vectors at once. The human fleet took heavy losses, ships vanishing in bursts of quantum fire. They're trying to break through to Earth, Dr. Zhang shouted over the chaos. Their main force is concentrating on Grid 7. David watched as the massive Harvester command ship advanced, its weapons tearing through space itself. Several human vessels moved to intercept, only to be erased from existence. The situation was becoming desperate. Then he remembered something Sarah had said about the Guardian's gift. It wasn't just technology, but a way of thinking that the Harvesters couldn't comprehend. Dr. Zhang, can we modify our quantum field to create a feedback loop with their collective consciousness? Her eyes widened as she understood. Yes, yes. Their shared mind is their strength, but it could also be their weakness. If we can create a cascading quantum uncertainty effect. All ships, new tactical pattern, David broadcast. Concentrate fire on these coordinates. Don't aim for their ships, aim for the space between them. Let's show them what human creativity can really do. The human fleet moved as one, their weapons targeting seemingly empty space. The quantum fields began to interact, creating zones of pure probability where the laws of physics became more suggestion than rule. The harvester ships, so dependent on their collective consciousness, found their neural network disrupted by quantum uncertainty. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the harvester fleet began to fall into chaos. Ships fired on their own allies, their shared mind unable to distinguish friend from foe across multiple quantum states. The massive command ship, trying to restore order, found itself trapped in a probability loop of its own making. It's working, Dr. Zhang exclaimed. Their collective consciousness is experiencing quantum decoherence. They can't maintain fleet cohesion. David keyed the fleet-wide comm. All ships pushed the advantage. Don't let them reconstruct their neural network. The battle became a dance of probability and chaos, with human ships darting through quantum storms of their own making. The harvesters, for the first time in their ancient history, faced an enemy they couldn't predict or control. The command ship made one final attempt to rally its forces, charging its main weapon, a device capable of unmaking matter at the quantum level. But as it prepared to fire, the quantum uncertainty field reached critical mass. All ships, clear the area, Admiral Chen ordered. What's about to happen? Just clear the area. The Harvester fleet vanished in a cascade of quantum events, each ship existing and not existing simultaneously until probability itself collapsed. When the quantum storm cleared, the enemy fleet was gone. Not destroyed, but shifted into a state of quantum uncertainty from which there could be no return. On the Horizon's bridge, David stared at the empty space where the Harvester fleet had been. They had won, not through superior numbers or firepower, but by embracing the very chaos that the Harvesters had sought to eliminate. Sarah would have loved to see this, Dr. Zhang said quietly. David nodded, knowing that somewhere, somehow, Sarah Chen's consciousness was still part of the quantum fabric of space itself. She did see it, he replied. The Guardian showed her everything that was possible if humanity just dared to be itself. As the fleet regrouped, signals began coming in from across human space. The Harvesters' defeat had been total, their entire invasion force trapped in quantum uncertainty. Humanity had proven itself not just worthy of survival, but capable of defending itself against the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. The price had been high, but the future, uncertain and chaotic as it might be, belonged to humanity. Legacy of the Stars. 1 year after the Battle of Sol, Commander David Rivera stood at the observation deck of Hawking Point Station, watching as construction drones swarmed around a massive new structure taking shape in space. The quantum defense platform was just one of many being built across human territory, ensuring that the Harvesters, or anything like them, would never threaten Earth again. Quite a view, isn't it? Admiral Chen asked, joining him at the viewport. She'd aged years in the months following the battle, after learning the full extent of her daughter's sacrifice. But there was a fierce pride in her eyes as she watched humanity's future taking shape. Sarah would have loved to see this, David said softly. Everything we've built using the Guardian's knowledge. She does see it, the Admiral replied. In a way. She gestured to the quantum communication array that now crowned the station. Every time we use these technologies, we're touching the same quantum field that she became part of. She's woven into the fabric of everything we've built. Dr. Zhang's voice came over the comm. Commander, Admiral, you're needed in the research lab. There's something you should see. They found the scientists surrounded by holographic displays, her augmented reality interface projecting complex quantum formulae into the air. But it was her expression that caught David's attention, a mixture of awe and disbelief he hadn't seen since the day they discovered the Guardian. We've been analyzing the deeper layers of the Guardian's database, she explained, the parts that were too complex for immediate translation. What we found. She manipulated the displays, showing a vast map of the galaxy. Points of light began to appear, spreading like stars being born. Other Guardians, Admiral Chen breathed. Out there, waiting. More than that, Zhang corrected. They're not just waiting, they're watching. The quantum communication network we built, it's not just connecting our colonies, it's reaching them. And they're responding. New data streamed across the displays, signals from distant stars, each one carrying the distinctive signature of Guardian technology. But these weren't automated messages. They were invitations. The Harvesters weren't the only advanced species in the galaxy, Zhang continued. They were just the most aggressive. There are others out there, civilizations that chose a different path. The Guardians weren't just weapons. They were tests, waiting for species who could prove themselves ready to join a larger community. By beating the Harvesters, David asked. By proving we could face extinction without losing our humanity, Admiral Chen corrected, understanding dawning in her eyes. By showing that chaos and order, organic and mechanical, could work together. A new signal caught their attention, stronger than the others, coming from a system not far from Sol. As they watched, the quantum computers decoded its message. To the people of Earth, you have shown yourselves worthy of the legacy left by the Guardian minds. Your victory over the Harvesters was not just a triumph of technology, but a validation of all we hoped organic life could become. You faced the ultimate order and proved that chaos, controlled, directed, but embraced, is the true path to evolution. The message continued, revealing truths that reshaped humanity's understanding of their place in the cosmos. The Guardians had been created by an ancient alliance of species who had faced and rejected the Harvesters' vision of perfect order. They had seeded the galaxy with their technology, hidden in places where promising young civilizations would find them when needed. But you did more than just use our gifts. The message went on. You improved upon them. Your quantum uncertainty weapons, your probability drives. These are innovations we never conceived. You have proven that humanity is ready not just to survive, but to help guide the next phase of galactic evolution. David thought about everything that had brought them to this point. The discovery of Hawking Point's signal, the Guardian's sacrifice, Sarah's choice to merge with ancient technology to save her species. Each step had been a test, preparing humanity for a role they never knew awaited them. "We're detecting more signals," Jean reported excitedly. "Dozens of them. Hundreds. Other civilizations reaching out through the quantum network. Some of them have been waiting for thousands of years for another species to prove themselves ready." Admiral Chen straightened, every inch the leader humanity would need for what was to come. "Send a response. Tell them Earth accepts the responsibility we've been given. We'll help find and guide others who are ready to join this community." "And the harvesters?" David asked. "There could be more of them out there." "Then we'll be ready," the Admiral replied. "Not just with weapons and shields, but with the proof that their philosophy is wrong. Life isn't a mistake to be corrected. It's an opportunity for infinite variation, infinite possibility." As if in response to her words, the quantum network pulsed with new energy. Through their sensors, they could detect similar pulses from other Guardians scattered across the galaxy. A network of possibility awakening after eons of sleep. Humanity had not just survived their trial. They had opened the door to a future beyond their wildest dreams. David touched the quantum communicator at his throat, technology that might never have existed without Sarah's sacrifice. For a moment, he thought he felt something in the quantum field, like an echo of her consciousness spreading through the stars. The Guardian's last gift wasn't just knowledge, he realized. It was proof that we were ready for it, ready to face whatever the galaxy holds. Admiral Chen nodded, watching as more signals joined the quantum chorus. "Then let's show them what humanity can really do. Not just as survivors or warriors, but as guardians ourselves." The next chapter of galactic history begins now. Above them, the quantum defense platform neared completion, its surface rippling with possibilities yet to be explored. And far beyond, in the depths of space, other Guardians waited to share their secrets with a species that had proven itself worthy of the stars.